Hi, welcome back. This is the next module in HeartQuest. It's the sixth module called Do. So it's about putting the theory into practice. Yes, sometimes the theory is more fun, or the practice, some people just want to get straight into it, boots and all. So we're going to talk about the theory. It's about the three pillars of our well-being. The first one is the emotional IQ in life. Next one's the physical IQ, and the other one's the nutritional IQ in life. So how do we actually, what is our pillars in our well-being? Looking at areas of there that we can make changes. And what we're going to talk about is, at the end of it is, what's the one biggest change in one of those pillars that will make the biggest change, the biggest bang for your buck, as they say. Okay, so let's talk about emotional IQ. So emotional IQ we're going to talk about now is the, like one thing we can look at is something called Gaia. It's called gratitude, alignment, intention and action. So for example, when we actually, in the morning for example, we can think about what are we grateful for. So we'll talk about, I'm grateful for my family. So that's, and then the next one's alignment. So I love my family. So that's the alignment section. The next one's intention. I'd like to show my family that I love them. So what's the action behind that? And the action is actually the doing. So you've got the thought process, and then you've got the higher resonance of actually increasing that into going from I'm grateful to I love, and then we're talking about the what I would like to do. And instead of just staying at like to do, which a lot of us do, we actually go to the action and actually do something about it. So the action is maybe, for example, I'd like to show more affection to my family and give them more hugs. And that means you go gratitude, gratitude, alignment, intention and action. And it's a quick way, in a sense, a very quick way to meditate or do a conscious/unconscious process to actually get something different in your life in an emotional sense. And the other one is actually doing what your magic is. So for example, we spoke about before is what you do is something that's actually at the core of who you are. If you're doing what your magic is, your natural neurotransmitters called, say for example, serotonin, your natural endorphins will actually be better, and that means that you actually have feel-good hormones that actually support that what you're doing, and that actually helps to create a feedback loop into what we do in life. So the more we do that we like doing, then actually you crave that more. And sometimes those decisions that we make in the past, it may mean that we're reaching for other things, like for example, a quick fix is like say sugar or some other sort of like thing that gives us a quick fix. But does that actually help to actually over time increase our endorphins, and it keeps that positive feedback loop that actually helps our well-being? And generally if we're eating too much of that, as I said, we're going to talk about this at the end called the 80-20 rule, but the main thing is to make sure that we are looking after our magic on a more consistent basis. Okay, the next one's about physical IQ. So a lot of people work sitting down like I am right now, doing work, and we're doing things what we have to do, but there's moments in time that we can actually do a lot more in regards to physical activity. And that may, like, they've spoken about it before, that, just walking, going up the steps. But the main thing is to get out, getting out, doing something that's simple. So what I mean by that is, when you're at home, what is the things around the home that you can do to actually, to help out you physically? So, for example, you can actually say, for example, you get a foam roller. You might have seen one of those foam rollers. Get a body length one, or you can get a yoga mat if you've got a yoga mat at home. If you don't have any of that, right in the meantime, get a towel and roll it up like a yoga mat. So the yoga mat's rolled up like a cylinder, and put that down the center of your spine. So it means your head is supported. You actually, your buttock area is supported, and then you lay on your back, knees bent, arms out wide, and it allows to open up the chest and actually open up your system. So often when we're actually, say for example, physically, we're working too much like this, or we're thinking about things that are a little bit concerning, what are we doing to our body? We're doing this, we're doing that. So what is that going to do to our general well-being? We're actually protecting ourselves, like we spoke about before, called like a fight or flight response. And also the other ones is, if we're doing that, it just really messes our digestion up, because we're just creating like impedance in that flow. So that's one thing that's quite easy. And then these other ones, often people ask me a question, what should I do? Well, my question is to them is, what are you attracted to? Because I can tell them what what I think they should do. However, if they're not a swimmer and I say to them, I like my swimming myself, as we spoke about, but if they don't swim or don't know how to swim, or they find swimming just absolutely boring, there's no point me saying to them go for a swim, because they might do it for a week or two by thinking, oh yeah, my chiropractor has mentioned to me, but they're just not going to continue doing it. So do things that you're attracted to, do things that you just like doing. So whatever that is, some things I would suggest is, as I said, one's swimming, one's riding a bike, getting out in nature, going for a walk. But mums say they don't have enough time, but they can just go for a walk, looking after kids. So it means that you do something with the kids, then you're going to do something for yourself as well. So it's not all just about one person in the family as well. The other one is, so if you're walking and if you want to increase it over time, then maybe do some interval running. So you actually, bit of walking, bit of running, then walk again. My suggestion is, if you are going to actually go and actually increase your activity by, say, running, for example, go on the grass or go on sand. It does two things. One, it actually means that your body's under less stress, as in the impact of actually hitting the ground. And the other one also is it challenges your body a little bit more, because at the end of the day, your feet are going to claw through the grass to actually increase the strength in the arch of your feet. And also means that you're actually on the sand, it helps to strengthen your legs up more as well. Okay, so that's the physical pillar that we spoke about. Next one's the nutritional. So a lot of people ask me these questions. I don't know what food irritates me. Okay, so what we need to do in a very simple sense is break it down and actually cut. If you're finding that you're getting these symptoms, are you getting bloated? Okay, so often people say, I don't have a digestive issue, and they just think, okay, I don't get loose motions or constipation, but there's other signs there as well. So for example, one thing, as we spoke about, was being bloated. The other one is thinking about being, when you eat certain foods, within about half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, you feel more tired after those foods. That means that food is not actually agreeing with you. And so that means that gives you an idea what to do. However, the most common foods that we actually need to look at is, as you might have heard of them, is gluten type foods, grain foods. The other one's dairy, and the other one, yes, is sugar. And sugar is getting a bit more traction in the media these days. Often when we're actually talking about foods is, people come in to see me and they go, I can't lose weight. Well, they may be eating certain foods that actually is creating inflammation, and once they stop eating those foods, that inflammation drops down. So it's not actually, in a sense, fat cells as per se, but it's a lot of fluid, a lot of inflammation in the body, because they're eating foods that the body is not agreeing with. Okay, so the simple thing in life is actually right now is think about your 3 pillars in life. Think about, out of all those 3 pillars, as in the physical system, your nutritional system, your emotional system, which area that you can make the biggest change right now to actually make a big change right now, so you can actually take note that, yep, that is something that is helping me. And the next one we spoke about is, okay, life is all about, from my point of view, and also keeping the body moving well, it's about, fun and flow. So, for example, let's just apply the 80-20 rule. Don't go around in life and think, I can't ever have fun, can't ever eat any of these foods that you enjoy. However, the 80-20 rule, so for example, is 80% of the time, look after yourself, and 20% of the time, for example, let your hair down, have some, enjoy yourself, and then get back onto it. So the main thing though is, when you do the 20%, if you actually decide to have whatever it is, say that piece of cake, or relax a little bit more, you just feel like it's time to slow down, which is great for the body. We all need a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But once we actually say, for example, eat a food like a piece of chocolate, cake, whatever it is, then the next choice after that is a good choice. So what I mean by that is, that might be the next day you go, okay, yep, I had a meal last night that was a meal that had a little bit more food, that a bit naughty food in a sense, but at the same time is the next choice after that is a good choice. So the next night that you have food, you don't have that food, so it means that your body has a chance to repair. Often people don't understand this, but for example, I like my sport. If someone actually say injures a muscle like a leg muscle, hamstring, most people understand that that will take anywhere between, say, 2, 3 to 6 weeks to heal. That's a muscle injury. Same thing with digestion, for example. If you injure those the bowel digestive system, it takes time for the body to heal. So when you actually allow the body to heal, then when you are naughty, then your body won't react as much. However, if you actually then make multiple choices that are a problem, then you end up creating that inflammation and going down that slippery road again.